will forfeit a share if a shareholder fails to pay the money that is due from him. Then all the process and procedure will be there in the articles. Then alteration of capital. Alteration of capital, that I have already told you, if a company wish to raise capital or wish to reduce capital, wish to raise capital or wish to reduce capital, then they have to alter the capital clause in the memorandum of association, also in the articles of association if any changes made during that alteration. Okay, if the company wants to raise its capital base, then they have to go to the memorandum of association. By doing that, if the issued capital or subscribed capital gets changes, they have to also alter in the article of association. And together, all these things are called as alteration of capital. Okay, ठीक है? Any doubt?
Please repeat it again.
Sorry?
Please repeat it again.
Alteration of capital means if a company wishes to raise more capital, then the company have to change its capital base. And capital base here I am referring to the capital clause in the memorandum of association. In the memorandum of association, we have came across different clauses: name clause, situation clause, capital clause, object clause, liability clause, all these things. So in the capital clause, we first tell you about the how much is the capital base of the company divided into number of shares of particular face value. If after some time company wants to invest more money into the company, okay, company wants to invest more money, so they have to raise their capital. If they have to raise their capital, then they have to alter the memorandum. Also, by altering the memorandum, the issued capital, subscribed capital will also get changed. And I know, and this is my pure belief that you don't know about what is subscribed capital, what is issued capital, but you have matched the balance sheet. That is the irony of fact. Okay, and I'm pretty sure you don't know about the meaning of issued capital, subscribed capital. At least one or two of you may know that, but others you don't know. I know. So whenever I am going to tell you about the share capital chapter, do listen to me carefully. And at that time also, in your accounts book, everything was there, but your focus was mainly on doing the balance sheet thing. So go back to your preliminary books. All the sections, all the concepts are given in your preliminary books. That's why I always tell you that don't forget the class 11, class 12 book. Alteration of capital means alteration means ya to plus or minus. If the company wants to raise more money, then they have to raise the capital clause in the memorandum. And if sometimes company have to reduce their capital base also, then they have to change the memorandum of association also. That all these things together called as alteration of capital. Next, I am skipping for the capitalization of profits. I go to the buyback of shares. You have a chapter on buyback of shares. While we'll study the buyback of shares, I'll ask these questions in this class only. Now, just write it down in your notepad. What is buyback of shares? In the Companies Act, if a company issues some shares to its shareholders, company have issued shares to its shareholders. Let's say company have issued 1 crore shares of face value ₹10 to its 1 crore shareholders. So the company have 1 crore shareholders. Okay, and all the 1 crore shareholders have 1 share each. That is a starting point. Now, if tomorrow company wants to reduce its capital base, or company is going to do some other business, in that case, whatever shares the company have earlier issued to its shareholders can buy those shares from the shareholders. Initially, company only issued shares to the shareholders. This is company, there are 1 crore number of shares. So, by issuing shares to the 1 crore number of shareholders, company got money to invest in the company. Okay, or to invest in the business of the company. Now, company wants to reduce its share capital, or this is also known as alteration of share capital. Then company is allowed to buy those shares from the shareholders. Now this time, earlier company was giving shares to the shareholders and company was getting money. Now in case of buyback, company will get the shares from the shareholders and company have to pay money to the shareholders. This is the concept of buyback of shares. Issue of share is opposite to buyback of shares. Buyback of share means company buying its own shares from its own shareholders. Thereby, the capital base of the company will get reduced. This is the concept of buyback of shares. We have a full chapter on buyback of shares. While dealing with buyback of shares, I will ask you, all of you, the concept of buyback of shares. These are very, very important concept to remember, applicable to your law paper as well as your accountancy paper. Okay. Now, next is capitalization of profits. Capitalization of profits. Okay. I don't know whether you have gone through this chapter in your accounts syllabus. Oh, Sosida. Sosida. এখন কেনেকৈ উলিয়াম আপোনাৰ এখন ৰাইটিং পেডখন এখন এন্টাৰ এখন স্ক্ৰীনখন এইখন লিখা এখন হোয়াইট বোর্ড Okay, this is your simple balance sheet. This is asset side and this is liability side. If I commit any mistake, please correct me. I'm not an accounts teacher, accounts faculty, but I'll try my best to teach you accounts. This is liability side. This is your capital, equity share capital. This is all your fixed assets, non-current assets, non-current, current assets, cash and cash equivalents, non-current assets. This is for me now irrelevant. Next, in the capital, after the capital we have reserve. Let's say general reserve. General reserve, then other reserve, capital reserve, DRR, debenture redemption reserve. All these things are in your liability side. Am I correct? These things appear in your balance sheet.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So our company have to appropriate out of its profit into various reserves. After trading account, we have to make profit and loss account, and then we have to make the profit and loss appropriation account. In the profit and loss appropriation account, we have to appropriate money to the general reserve, capital reserve, debenture redemption reserve, or any other reserve if any. Now, let's say in capital it has 500, general reserve 100, capital reserve again 300. All these things are crore. So we have equity capital of 500 crore, GR of 100 crore, capital reserve of 300 crore. DRR could be likh lo. So what is capitalization of profits? These are nothing but, all these reserves are nothing but part of our profit. We are just appropriating the profit into various reserves. Then we have a ultimate net profit. Reserve we have to create. Reserve we create for future unseen purpose. That you know, I believe that you all these things, all this concept you have. What is capitalization profit is that if my capital reserve is 300 and equity capital is 500, I want to issue bonus shares to all the shareholders. Why the term is used as bonus shares? Because when a company issues bonus shares, you must have come across the word bonus shares. When the company issues bonus shares, it is free of cost. So equity shareholders get shares, but they don't have to pay any money to the company. So from where the company will get the money while issuing bonus shares? Okay, company wants to issue bonus shares to its shareholders, but company have to issue those shares at free of cost. This is as per the requirement of Companies Act. But as soon as company issues the bonus share, its capital will get increased. बोनस शेयर इशू करने के बाद इक्विटी कैपिटल बढ़ जाएगा. This is also an example of alteration of share capital. Capital reserve, capitalization of profit means the company while issuing the bonus share, let's say company is going to issue 100 crore का bonus share 100 crore bonus share to its shareholders at free of cost. This 100 crore will company get from the reserve capital. Now बोनस शेयर लेस बोनस शेयर आप लोग कर दो 100, ये 200 हो जाएगा। अब ये इक्विटी शेयर हो जाएगा 500 प्लस 100 600। आपका तभी आपका शेयर कैपिटल बेस एक ही होगा। अर्लियर इट वाज 300 plus 500 800, now it is 200 plus 600। आपका बैलेंस शीट नहीं हिलेगा, बैलेंस शीट एज इट इज रहेगा, लेकिन रिजर्व से पैसा चला जाएगा कैपिटल के पास, और कैपिटल के पास चला जाने के बाद आपका कैपिटल बेस इंक्रीज हो जाएगा। Earlier I have told you this capital reserve is nothing but part of profit. Why it is part of profit? Because after P&L appropriation account we get this capital reserve. So this is the concept of capitalization of profit। हमें जो प्रॉफिट मिला उसको हमने कैपिटल में कन्वर्ट कर दिया। दिस इज ऑल अबाउट कैपिटलाइजेशन ऑफ प्रॉफिट, एंड कैपिटलाइजेशन ऑफ प्रॉफिट विल कम फ्रॉम कैपिटल रिजर्व। ओके, कैपिटल रिजर्व से काम आएगा, और जनरल रिजर्व एज पर कंपनीज पॉलिसीज, जेआर और सीआर से ये उठ के पैसा आ जाएगा इक्विटी कैपिटल में। और ये जो बोनस है फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है, फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट एट दी हैंड्स ऑफ शेयर होल्डर्स। लेकिन कंपनी के लिए फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट इशू करना नहीं है, कंपनी को पैसा दिखाना पड़ेगा, ठीक है, अदरवाइज ऑडिटर्स क्वेश्चन राइज करेंगे। तो ये फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट जो मैंने बोला, बोनस शेयर शैल बी इशूड एट फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट, this free of cost is for the shareholders, not for the company. Company have to get money, and this money will come from the capital reserve that the company is generating after P&L appropriation account, and that is why we call it as capitalization of profits. Why profit? Because capital reserve or GR is nothing but a part of our profits. Okay, any doubt on this thing? Any doubt on calculation of profits?
No, sir.
Others?
No, sir.
Okay, समझ में नहीं आया? नो, these things are also there in your syllabus later on. Buyback of shares, I have told you, company have to buy its own shares back from the shareholders. Then general meetings. जनरल मीटिंग का आप लोगों का यहाँ पे चैप्टर है, कंपनी हैव टू कंडक्ट वन जनरल मीटिंग इन अ फाइनेंशियल ईयर। अभी के लिए इतना समझ के रखो, जनरल मीटिंग क्या है? जनरल मीटिंग ऑफ द शेयर होल्डर्स, वेयर शेयर होल्डर्स कैन आस्क क्वेश्चन टू द board of directors of the company. Then proceedings of general meeting shall be there in your articles. Adjournment of meeting, when you read the general meeting chapter, you will get to know voting rights, shareholder, equity shareholder case, voting rights. Then proxy is nothing but whatever proxy you do in your college is same, that shareholders might not come to the general meeting, but they can appoint somebody as their proxy to attend in the general meeting. Then board of directors, companies are run by directors. Directors collectively called as board of directors. Proceedings of board meeting कैसी होगी? Board also, the board of directors term as board also do meetings to manage the company. How the board meeting will be conducted, all these things are there in our articles. Then CEO, manager, company secretary, CFO, who will be called as chief executive officer, company secretary, manager, CFO. These are have to be in the articles. The seal, now it is optional. While reading the salient features of company, I have told you about the common seal. Common seal, earlier it was compulsory, now it is optional. If somebody can remember, I have told you about the common seal in the salient features of the company. Then याद आया? अगर याद आया तो खोल के देखना बुक्स, वहां पे मैंने जब कॉमन सेट पढ़ाया था तब लिखा बोला था कि ऑप्शनल है, सेल भी ऑप्शनल है राइट नाउ. Dividends and reserve, how much the when you issue shares to the shareholders, out of the profits that the company earn, you have to pay those profits to the shareholders. Why company have to pay profits to the shareholders in form of dividend? Because the shareholders are investing money in the company. We put money in our bank, we get interest. Okay, बैंक डिपॉजिट में हमें इंटरेस्ट मिलता है. So these shareholders, instead of putting their money with the bank, they have put their money in the company. What is the benefit of putting your money with the company? The benefit is that if tomorrow company earns profit, company have to pay dividend to its shareholders, and dividend देने के बाद whatever remaining amount is left, you have to also create reserve from the profit and loss. That's why we have to make profit and loss appropriation account. In the profit and loss appropriation account, you will find dividends, general reserve, capital reserve, DRR. All these things are in your account syllabus. Then accounts बोला है. Accounts मतलब financial statements. कंपनी का प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस कैसे बनेगी, बैलेंस शीट में क्या क्या आइटम होगा, कैश फ्लो में क्या क्या होगा, एवरीथिंग यू हैव टू मेंशन इन द आर्टिकल ऑफ एसोसिएशन. दैट्स व्हाई आर्टिकल ऑफ एसोसिएशन इज कॉल्ड is for the internal members, to the person inside the company. Winding up of the company, if tomorrow you have to close down the company, how you are going to close the company, it shall be there in the article of association. And next is indemnity. Indemnity, while dealing with the contract act, you will find indemnity. Why now all these things are in articles? Don't worry, if you don't understand something, I'm here, you can always ask. And also you will find chapters dealing with all these topics in your future syllabus. Now, why all these things are required in case of company? Why not all these things are there in case of human being? Because human being as a natural person are already regulated by many other acts. Motor Vehicle Act, Civil Procedure Act, many acts are there to regulate the human beings. But to regulate an artificial person, we have few laws. Then out of those few laws, Companies Act is one of the foremost laws. So if the company gets an artificial birth, we have to tell that company that since you are an artificial person, you will be regulated by these clauses as mentioned in the memorandum and articles. So that is the need of memorandum and articles, to regulate the company, as it is not a natural person, it's an artificial person. That is why articles and memorandums are sometimes termed as charter of documents or the constitution of a company. That is the need of memorandum and article. And everything in your article, the company have to regulate by those articles only. And like table A, B, C, D, E for memorandum, table E up to E is memorandum, from F to J is article of association. One company can adopt the table as given in the Companies Act, or the company have to modify their own article of association if company wants. But if the company modifies its memorandum as well as articles, but they cannot go beyond what is there in the Companies Act. Yes, company can do modify their articles and memorandum, but overall they have to be inside the tables mentioned in Schedule 1 to the Companies Act. This is all about memorandum and article of association. आर्टिकल एसोसिएशन आप लोग अगर नोट बनाकर रखा है तो ठीक है, लेकिन जो भी टॉपिक यहाँ पे है we will discuss, we have to discuss because all these things are there in your syllabus. ठीक है? Any doubt on article of association? No doubt. No. Chalo, I will ask few questions. I'll test your knowledge of accountancy, which is also there in your Company Law Act. Tell me about the differences between. Tell me the differences between equity share capital, preference share capital, and debenture. You must have gone through debenture, equity share, and preference share. First of all, what is the meaning of equity share? What is the meaning of preference share? And what is the meaning of debenture? Tell me whatever you know about equity, preference, and debenture. And please write it down whatever I will tell you about the equity, preference, and debenture. 12th accountancy book, company accounts, everything was written there. Tell me. Meaning of equity, meaning of preference, meaning of debenture. Write it down, I'm telling you. The meaning of equity share is that equity shares are owner's own capital. Equity share is owner's own capital. जो कंपनी का ओनर है, ओनर का खुद का कैपिटल है, that is equity shares. Now, who are the owners? All the shareholders are the owners of the company. All the shareholders are the owners of the company. Equity share capital is the owner's own capital. Okay, अगर ओनर का खुद का कैपिटल है, देन उसका रीपेमेंट जरूरी नहीं है. Fine. Owner, if equity share is owner's own capital, then no requirement of repaying the equity share. This is equity share capital. Preference share is also a type of capital, but it is not owner's own capital. Preference share capital, company have to repay those preference share capital to its preference shareholders. Company, after issuing the preference share capital, have to repay those preference share capital to its preference shareholders. That means preference share is also not owner's own capital. Then here comes your debenture. Debenture is also form of capital. That means when I am using the word capital means कंपनी का पैसा. इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल कंपनी का खुद का पैसा. प्रेफरेंशियल कैपिटल इज आल्सो कंपनी का पैसा, लेकिन दे हैव टू रीपे दैट पैसा. ओके, दे हैव टू रीपे दैट मनी. डिबेंचर कैपिटल, डिबेंचर इज आल्सो कंपनीज कैपिटल, बट डिबेंचर इज आउटसाइड कैपिटल. कंपनी ने कहीं से उधार लेके रखा है, ठीक है, किसी बैंक से, किसी आदमी से कंपनी ने पैसा एज इफ उधार लेके रखा है. सो डिबेंचर इज आउटसाइडर्स कैपिटल, कंप्लीटली अपोजिट टू इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल. इक्विटी शेयर इज ओनर्स ओन कैपिटल, डिबेंचर इज आउटसाइड कैपिटल. Preferential is also a capital, but the company have to repay the money to preferential holders. Same as preferential holders, since debenture is an outsider's capital, company have to repay the debenture money to its debenture holders. Company have to repay the money back to the debenture holders. This is the definition of the term equity share, preference share and debenture. Now, since debenture is an outsider's capital, a person outside from the company is investing money in the company in form of debenture, and he is a debenture holder. So what is the purpose of investing money in form of debenture? Debenture holders will get interest on the debentures. Okay, since an outsider is investing money in the company in form of debenture, company have to pay debenture interest to the debenture holders. Just like bank gives us interest, in that way company also have to pay interest on its debenture to the debenture holders. डिबेंचर में क्या होता है? डिबेंचर में डिविडेंड नहीं होता है. कंपनी चाहे प्रॉफिट कमाए या ना कमाए, whether company earns profit or not does not matter. Company have to pay debenture interest to its debenture holders. Remember this thing. Irrespective of whether profit is there or not, company always have to pay debenture interest to its debentures. Next, preference share. Preference share as well as equity share both carries dividend. We have to pay, as a company we have to pay dividend on preference shares as well as equity shares. Okay, since preference shareholders are also a part of capital, now if somebody is investing in our company, we have to pay them on yearly basis. What is that? That is preference dividend. डिबेंचर को तो हम लोग ने डिबेंचर इंटरेस्ट दे दिया बिकॉज दे आर आउटसाइडर्स कैपिटल. प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स को भी डिविडेंड देना पड़ेगा एट फिक्स्ड रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, whether they have earned profit or not. Okay, प्रेफरेंस को भी हमें डिविडेंड देना पड़ेगा. Now equity shareholders also get dividend, but when? After paying the debenture interest to the debenture holders, after paying the preference dividend to the preference holders, if anything is left, then the company have to pay dividend on the equity shareholders. Why at the last? Because equity shareholders are owners own capital. घर का खुद का पैसा है। जब हम लोग किसी को खाने पे बुलाते हैं, पहले जो मेहमान है उनको खिलाते हैं, ठीक है। डिबेंचर होल्डर्स आर मेहमान, सो इफ प्रेफरेंस होल्डर्स आर आल्सो आवर गेस्ट। पहले गेस्ट को सर्व करो, उसके बाद कुछ बच जाए तो घर वाला को खाने को मिलता है, ठीक है। जस्ट लाइक all these family example, first we have to pay the debenture interest, that is outsiders, then preference dividend. After paying the debenture interest and preference dividend, if anything is left, this money we have to pay dividend to equity shareholders. Okay, if anything is left, अगर कुछ बचा नहीं है उस साल इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स को कोई डिविडेंड नहीं मिलेगा। अगर कुछ बच जाता है आफ्टर पेइंग द डिवेंचर इंटरेस्ट, डिवेंचर डिविडेंड, देन ओनली इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स विल गेट डिविडेंड। अब you may ask कि sir preference shares also get dividend, equity shares also get dividend, then what is the difference between preference share and equity share? Preference share the company have to repay, equity share company don't have to repay, and dividend first go to their preference share, then after equity share. That's why in matters of dividend a preference is given over the equity shareholders. That's why they are called as preference shareholders. I'm repeating again. In payment of dividend, a preference is given over the equity shareholders. That's why they are termed as preference shareholders. Okay. First debenture interest, then preference over equity share in terms of payment of dividend. That's why called as preference shareholders. And at last, if anything is left, then those things are for equity dividend or dividend to the equity shareholders. These are the basic meaning and the basic differences between debenture capital, preference share capital, and equity share capital. Don't worry, you are not the first batch जिनको ये सब मालूम नहीं है। आप लोगों से पहले भी जितने सारे बैचेस आए थे, किसी को ये नॉलेज नहीं था। ओके, सो यू आर नॉट एबनॉर्मल, यू गाइस आर नॉर्मल। आपको भी नहीं पता है, उन लोगों को भी पता नहीं था, ठीक है। बट ऑल दिस थिंग्स यू हैव टू मेक ए नोट, नोटपैड में लिखना, और ये लाइफ में काम आएगा, not only to pass the intermediate exam. So any doubt on the articles and the concept of equity, dividend and debenture, tell me, or otherwise I'm going to end this class. Your next class, the next faculty will take your next class. Ask me anything if you have to ask. ठीक है, thank you. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have company set, and please revise. Tomorrow we'll go by the books. Your this sorry, only company set tomorrow will do. So tomorrow you just will go by the book. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
हाय। आज हमने मतलब कि स्टैंडर्ड शुरुआत करेंगे, अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स। ओके। अब तक आप लोग का मतलब कि शायद इंट्रोडक्शन खत्म हो गया ना? You people have completed your introduction, right? Account basics.
Yes, sir.
Okay. ठीक है। Now today we'll start with the accounting standards and accounting standard number one. Although the amount of content in the study material is very less, we'll try to cover it in brief. मैं जितना हो पाएगा आउट ऑफ द टेक्स्ट बुक भी बताने की कोशिश करूंगा. It will be helpful in future also, and this is very much required, not for the academic purpose, in addition to that also. So coming to accounting standard number one, it speaks about the disclosure of accounting policies. So in the first class, if you had remember, if you are present in my first beginning class, as I was explaining why we want separate set of guidelines or rules to make the financial statements. See, anybody can make their own set of financial statements in their own manner, but the thing is, if if I prepare in my own fashion, मेरे मर्जी से make if I make the notes, if I prepare the financial statements on my own set of guidelines or rules, that won't be in parity when I want to compare with the other business entity or other businesses. So to bring in parity or to have some equal comparity, we try to follow the set of guidelines which is nothing but accounting standards prescribed by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So now coming to accounting AS1, disclosure of accounting policies, in a simple manner, I'll try to give the notes. ये है ना? नहीं है? Oh.
Sir, you are not. Sir, your voice is not audible.
I request you to note down this in your notebooks. Set of accounting principles and method of applying these principles in preparation and presentation of financial statements. Disclosure of accounting policies. I'll say once again, set of accounting principles and method of applying these principles in preparation and presentation of financial statements. So what are the accounting principles and method of applying these principles in the preparation and presentation of financial statements? Preparation and presentation of financial statements is nothing but your preparation of annual report like balance sheet, profit and loss account is nothing but the preparation of financial statements. Now, disclosure of accounting policies means when I am trying to depict my business activity in the books of accounts, I am supposed to incorporate or follow some set of accounting principles. So those matlab ki there can be n number of accounting principles available. So आउट ऑफ ऑल दीज प्रिंसिपल्स मैंने कौन सा प्रिंसिपल्स यूज करके मेरा फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स बनाऊंगा एंड how am I applying these principles in my by preparation of financial statements is what matters, because the user of the financial statements is supposed to know on what basis we had prepared our financial statements. Otherwise he cannot able to come and interpret the financial statements which we had prepared. So this is a standard which states that with the out of all the available accounting standards, what are the accounting principles or what are the accounting principles we are using in preparation of these financial statements, and how we are applying these principles in preparation and finalization of our financial statements, which is nothing but profit and loss account and balance sheet. So yes, definition आप लोग लिख लीजिए. Then again, ठीक है, अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज के मतलब कि अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज जो भी है प्रिंसिपल्स है उसमें सेट ऑफ प्रिंसिपल्स मेरे को इन प्रिपरेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आई एम सपोज्ड टू पिक एंड चूज. सो whose responsibility is it for the selection of these accounting principles? The responsibility in selecting these accounting principles will be lies with the management of the enterprise. मेरा राइटिंग इतना अच्छा नहीं है, you try to bear with it. I'll try to read out loud. So whose responsibility in identifying these accounting principles? In order to prepare the financial statements, I'm supposed to apply some principles. Among these principles, मतलब कि there can be lot of principles. Out of these principles, किस-किस principle I'm supposed to apply and किस-किस को मैं छोड़ना चाहता हूँ. and this is the thing, the responsibility lies with the management to decide which principles I'm supposed to utilize, supposed to apply in preparation of financial statements and which are to be ignored. Say for example, if you remember, in inventories or in valuation of inventories, you could have come up with these terms like FIFO, LIFO, FIFO, weighted average method. ये कभी सुना होगा ना, लास्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट, फर्स्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट, और वेटेड एवरेज मेथड. ये नहीं है होने से डिप्रिसिएशन में SLM, WDV, ये तो सुना होगा ना. So if the organization wants to use SLM method, what is SLM method? What is SLM method? Straight line method. What is WDV? Written down value method. In order to depreciate my fixed asset, either if I should use SLM or WDV, ये कौन decide करेगा? The management will decide कि let us apply go and apply the SLM method or WDV method. And in order to decide on the stock whether which on what basis I am supposed to identify my stock or value my stock, whether it is in LIFO method or FIFO method, the management will decide. So it is not an accountant or somebody else who decides. It's the management's call to come up with and say that key, okay, let us use these set of accounting principles in preparation of financial statements. Now, ठीक है, ये तो हो गया. There are set of principles and उसमें से management का जिम्मेदारी है to identify these principles. लेकिन how even they also, how will they identify? उन लोग का मन मर्जी से they cannot come and choose that okay, come on, let us use LIFO or let us use FIFO or let us use weighted average. उसके लिए भी there is a set of criteria. So मैं कैसे, there is a set of criteria on यही follow करके I should be able to, management should be able to finalize the set of principles I am supposed to utilize in finalization of financial statements. So वो criteria किस पे depend करता है कि in such a way to depict or you can say business enterprise. So primary criteria for selection, मैं किस तरीके से I am supposed to select these or I choose this accounting principles in such a way to depict the true and fair view of affairs of financial statements or business enterprise. After choosing these accounting set of principles, when I prepare my financial statements, it should show the true and fair view of the affairs of the company or affairs of the business enterprise. वैसा मतलब कि if it is not relatable to my organization or business nature, I am not supposed to utilize the same. Say for example, inventory. There are two methods, LIFO and FIFO. Last in, first out, first in, first out. Now say for example, in the economy, the inflation rates are very high. Okay, if the inflation rates are very high, if I choose any of these two, say for example last in first order, आज का दिन में the amount of stock which I am going to procure or amount of inventory which is lying with me will be showing a value which is more than what I had procured. Say for example, if I had procured at rupees 100 rupees, आज का दिन में due to inflation the cost might have been depicted as 150 in the market. So if I use the LIFO, my as of today the cost of the any selling item will be like 150 rupees, but that is not the true depiction of the entire stock. Say for example, till now I had a stock of 10 quantity which is valuing around 1000 rupees, and आज का दिन में only one quantity latest I had purchased at 150. In total my total stock will be like 1150. But if I value the entire stock at the latest figure, which is like अभी आज का दिन में the available market value is 150. If I value the entire stock 150, that is not showing the true value of the stock. So the best way would be in such a case would be to go with the weighted average cost. So weighted average cost would be like कि 1150 divided by 11 जितना भी होगा, that would be my weighted average cost for the entire stock. So the management should be utilizing, or you should be picking the accounting policies and principles in such a way to depict the true picture of the business enterprise in the financial statements. Next. So, in addition to this, consideration of selection of accounting policies. There are few things to be considered in finalizing these accounting policies. Say for example, there are three set of things which we are supposed to consider. The number one is what does this mean? Substance over form. Substance over form. What does this mean? Anybody can say? Substance over form. किसी ने बोल पाएगा क्या? ठीक है. See, substance over form means simply in a business entity. Let's say for example, there are these type of transactions happens in a business, which is like I'm going to sell an asset. Say for example, simple example of hire purchase, which is also given in the textbook. Like in a hire purchase, what happens is I will be taking the goods on lease, or I will be taking the goods on machinery on hiring basis. Say for example, a plant and machinery I had taken on hiring. Say for 10 rupees. Say for example, the entire machine cost is 1000 rupees, and I had taken it on hiring basis, which I am supposed to pay the hiring charges of 10 rupees on every month. Now the substance over form means although the item has been taken on hiring, and the hiring can be like two ways, in which case the asset will be with me and the entire cost of the asset will be shown in my books of accounts. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Say for example, the entire सुना दे रहा ना, ठीक है, thank you. So entire cost of the asset, although I had utilizing the this asset on hiring basis, the ownership is not being transferred. So the substance over form, how can I say? Not even hiring. मतलब कि okay, fine. The best is ki operating lease versus financial lease. In a financial lease, what happens is ki the lessee will recognize the asset in his books of accounts as his own, because the substance over the form states that ki the entire cost of the asset is being recognized in the lessee account instead of lesser account. So that is what here termed as substance over form. In a business, in selection of accounting policies, you should consider the not just the form, you should consider the substance of the transaction instead of the form. I'll say another example, substance or form. I know you might have not gone understood this. Substance or form means, say for example, I had purchased an asset of 100 rupees, and again, say for example, A has purchased an asset of 100 rupees, and now he is selling this asset to B as of today, say for example, same at 100 rupees. Okay, what I'm doing, I'm making a sale of this asset to B at 100 rupees. But again, I'm going to say this to B that after a period of 1 year, I'm going to rebuy the same asset at 150 rupees. A got an asset of 100 rupees. Now he's selling it to B for 100 rupees, same 100 rupees. And after 1 year, he's again buying back. At 150 rupees. Now, if you understand here, what is happening is key. I'm simply paying 50 rupees for as an interest component on this 100. I'm simply paying the interest component of 50 rupees on this 100. The substance might have been shown as sale. The form is sale, sorry. The form which has happened is sale, but the substance is, this is a purely financial transaction involving 50 rupees of the interest cost. Although the sale has been shown in the nature of form, but actually what is happened is key. This is a financial transaction which I need funds, so I had given him the asset, or and again I'm taking back my asset after a period of 1 year, and I'm paying him 150 rupees. So the 50 rupees is amount of interest which I am paying against this 100 rupees for a period of 1 year. Simply that is what happening. The nature of transaction here is not in the nature of in the substance of sale, but the substance of this transaction is a financial transaction, which is I'm lending, I'm utilizing the funds, and against these funds I'm paying 50 rupees as an interest for a period of 1 year. So that is what here comes. So you should, while choosing these accounting policies, the substance should be considered, not the form. Here the form is the sale transaction, but the substance of this transaction is financial in nature. Next comes prudence. What is prudence? It is a conservative concept. All foreseeable losses to be provided for. The prudence concept says that the all foreseeable losses to be provided for. So what does this mean? In an entity, whenever we prepare financial statements, and when finalizing the accounting principles to be applied, the prudence concept is such thing which says that all the foreseeable losses in the company are to be addressed. Say for example, you had taken a building on lease, building or plant and machinery. on lease. Okay, so the lease is for a period of 3 years, and now this lease is non-revocable or non-revocable means nothing but this is fixed. मतलब कि for the entire 3 years period I am supposed to pay him the lease rentals irrespective of my requirement. So say for example I had taken the building on rent or lease and I am staying in the building, and as per the agreement which I had entered with the owner of the building, it says that key whatsoever, whether you use the building or not, you don't use the building, whether you're having the requirement in future or not, it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't bother to me. The thing is you're supposed to pay me the rentals for the next 3 years. Okay, so that is what we are saying as non-revocable or fixed in nature. So irrespective of my requirement, I'm supposed to incur the 3 years rental. Say for example, for every year my rental is 10,000. So 10,000 I'm supposed to incur for the entire lease period. Okay, now after a period of 1 year, I came to realize that the building requirement or the plant and machinery on which in which I had taken for the lease purpose on hiring basis is no longer required to me. Say for example, I had taken this plant and machinery for the manufacturing of some items, and later I came to realize that the items which I am supposed to manufacture is banned by the government. Say for example, I had taken this plant and machinery to manufacture tobacco, and in the state in which I manufacture, the tobacco has been banned by the government. Although now what I can say is, although I can manufacture the cigarettes or tobacco in the concerned state, but the sales for the same is not there in the state. Since the government has banned the usage of tobacco in the state, there is no point for me to manufacture the tobacco, assuming that you cannot export this tobacco, or assuming that you cannot transport this tobacco. So say for example, in the entire country the tobacco has been banned. So then the plant and machinery which I had taken on lease basis, now it is of no use. So what is happening? Even though I incur any revenue from this or not, I am supposed to pay this lease charges or rental charges or hiring charges against this plant and machinery. So what happens? For assuming this 10,000, first year I had incurred 10,000, no issue. Now the second year I realized that there is no point of keeping this machine because I'm not going to use this machine. Now we came to realize this in the second year itself, because government has given a circular stating that the tobacco has been banned. As per the prudence concept or conservatism approach, as of today itself, we know that the next 2 years rental of 10,000 into 2, which is 20,000 rupees, is going to be my loss, because I'm not going to incur any revenue from this, and I'm simply going to pay this amount to the owner. So this 20,000 rupees is supposed to be recognized in the books of accounts as of today. Entire 20,000 should be treated as loss. That is nothing but conservatism approach. And in this nature of any contract, any agreement in this nature is being termed as onerous contracts. So not only this, any item or anything which is like, if we are in a stage to identify that this material or this item is no longer required, or say for example, as of today somebody is supposed to pay me 10,000 rupees of debt. I am having a debtor of 10,000 rupees, and later I came to realize that the same party has gone for IP, insolvency petition. What is an IP insolvency petition? Insolvency petition means he has been declared by the court that he cannot able to, he is not solvent to repay his debts. So then as soon as he has gone for the IP, I came to realize that this 10,000 which he is owing me, 10,000 rupees I am supposed to get from this party, is going to be turned to bad debt. So as per the prudence concept, I am supposed to treat this entire 10,000 as my loss in my profit and loss account of that particular financial year. That is what says the prudence concept or conservatism approach. Next, the third point is materiality. So now, what is materiality? In simple terms, materiality matlab in simple terms, materiality can be termed as anything which is in nature to affect the decision making will be termed as materiality. In simple funda, in auditing terminology, anything which is going to affect the decision making should be termed as material in nature or materiality in nature. So now, but coming to the accounts, the materiality has two ways. One is quantitative materiality, another is qualitative materiality. So one is quantitative materiality and other is qualitative materiality. What does quantitative materiality says? This is something with respect to we can say is something with respect to amount of transaction So what is this mean with respect to amount of transaction or size of transaction? Say for example, materiality for a company like TCS, they prepare the financial statements in millions. Say we can say in crores. So what do they do is while preparing their financial statements, they depict their figures in crores. If you had observed any financial statements, rupees in crores this is how they mention, and then the figures can be, say for example, in the balance sheet, if they mention 10,000 rupees as my building, it means 10,000 crores. They will not separately write these crores against this, they simply mention 10,000, which means that rupees in crores means this 10,000 to be read as 10,000 crores. And in the similar fashion, say for example, if they had writing any data's value, data say for example 2,986.79, say 2,986 crores and 79 lakhs. Now there is a data of rupees 2 lakhs and he had become bankrupt. Bankrupt means nothing but he is not able to pay me back my money. And this entire 2 lakhs I'm supposed to treat it as bad debts. Now you say the TCS company has forgot to recognize this 2 lakh rupees of bad debts and it was included here. Instead of reducing this 2 lakhs from this, they had simply ignored and it has been included here. Whether this is immaterial in nature or not, somebody please answer whether this is in material nature or not, whether this is right or not, whether this is right or wrong. Somebody please answer here.
Material.
Ji?
Material, sir.
Material in nature. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? Is this material in nature or not? Okay, this is not in material nature. Thank you, Gaurav. But this is not in material nature. The reason is I am depicting my financial figures in crores. So when I am depicting my financial statements in financial figures in crores, this is these 2 lakhs will be represented as 0.02. See, a decimal of 0.02 will not have any much impact on the balance sheet simply because that is not going to affect my decision making process or decision making analysis in the financial statements. Even though if I ignore these decimal points also, even then the financial statements show a true and fair view of the company or business enterprise. So ignoring a 2 lakhs for a company like TCS is not a big matter. Say for example, this rupees is not in crores but rupees is in simply rupees. This is entirely in rupees, then definitely this will have an impact because for a small business entity this 2 lakhs will be in material in nature. Okay, now previous page. So that's what I'm saying. This is quantitative materiality is such a thing that with respect to the amount of transaction and size of transaction, this is how the materiality is decided in nature of for a quantitative materiality. When it comes to qualitative materiality, this is with respect to nature of transaction and nature of business enterprise. So coming to the qualitative materiality, it decides on with respect to the nature of transaction, nature of business enterprise. Say for example, I am dealing in the business of say TCS itself. Tata is involved in the business of making it. Say for example, let us take one segment which is like tobacco business. So in a tobacco business, the nature is tobacco sales. Say for example, in the tobacco sales, and then, in addition to the tobacco sales, I was involved in the transaction or nature of transaction of lending loans to the outsiders or other companies. Say the lending loans is completely different in nature of the nature of the business of the tobacco business. So there, the lending of amount to the outside companies or other companies is in material nature because this is in deviation or which is in which is not in the regular business activity of the TCS. Assuming the only tobacco sales is this what they do. So here it shows that in the materiality it shows about the amount of transactions, and in the qualitative it shows about the nature of the business and its activities involved in the transactions to decide upon the materiality. So there are three aspects. Once again, I am saying to consider upon the deciding of the consider upon the selection of accounting policies. One is substance over form, and the other is prudence concept, which is nothing but conservatism approach, and the third is materiality. Okay, now comes changes in accounting policies. Whenever there is a change in accounting policy, the management is supposed to show in their books of accounts why this change has been occurred. Say for example, suddenly I had shifted from LIFO to FIFO. In one financial year, management has decided, no, let us identify from LIFO to FIFO. Or say for example, they decided, let us go from SLM method to WDV method. So whenever a change has been happened, the change has to be clearly mentioned in the financial statements, in the notes to accounts. Why? The fact that first of all, the management has to say that yes, there has been a change, and because of change, what are the effects on the financial statements for the just completed years and the coming years. So management has to represent in the has to give a view of the effect of changes with respect to these change in accounting policies. Now, if you are having if you open your study material, page number 529, I don't know whether you are having the same material which I am having. There was an illustration number 1. Somebody kindly start the first line of this illustration so that I can able to identify whether I am having the same material which you are having. Illustration number 1, please. Somebody please read out the first line. Okay, I'll read out, just confirm whether this is the illustration you are having or not. Jivandeep Limited had made a right issue in 2010. In the offer document to its members, it had projected a surplus of 40 crores during the accounting year to be ended on 31st March 2012. The draft results for the year are prepared on the hitherto followed accounting policies and presented for pursuit of the board of directors showed a deficit of 10 crores. The board, in consultation with the managing director, decided on the following. This is what you're having?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now, if everybody could try to open their illustration and go through the question illustration, I'll explain the illustration. Everybody is having the study material, right? Even if you are not having, you can access it from the institute website. Kindly confirm me whether your material is available and you are opened it. Hello. Hello.
Open, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now, if you observe the first point, value year-end inventory at works cost 50 crores instead of the hitherto method of valuation of inventory at prime cost. The board, in consultation with management. So what is happening is in the question, in the first point, it was saying that there was a change in the inventory valuation. So inventory valuation, there was a change, and they are considering of 50 crores under works cost. As per the works cost, now my inventory is being shown as 50 crores. Otherwise, it should have been shown as prime cost at rupees 30 crores. So management has shifted from prime cost to works cost, and because of the shift, now my inventory cost has been recorded. It should be recorded at 50 crores instead of 30 crores. Because of this, what will happen? When my inventory cost has been increased, what would be the effect in the financial statements? What would be the effect in the profit and loss account? Somebody could say. Whenever my inventory cost has been increased, what would be the impact on the financial statement? Somebody please respond. See, in a typical trading account, my opening stock 100, sales 500, purchases, say for example 6, purchases 600. Okay. Say for example, this is 1500. Purchase is 600, and then here comes my closing stock, or we can say inventory. Okay. Inventory is, say for example, 200. What would be my gross profit? Gross profit कितना होगा? What would be my gross profit here? Thank you. So, in a typical case, my gross profit is 1000. Now, what they are saying is key. My inventory cost should have been 30 crores. Say for example here, it should have been 30 crores. लेकिन अभी कितना हो गया है? 50 crores हो गया. Okay. इसका मतलब my inventory cost has been increased. Say for example in this example, यहाँ पे 30 से 50 हो गया. From 30 it has become 50. Now say for example from 200 it has become 500. Okay. So what is the impact on the gross profit in such a case? What we have is the gross profit now? Somebody please say. If my inventory cost has been increased, what happens to my gross profit?
Increase.
कितना?
1300.
300.
So due to change in my inventory, my gross profit has increased. This is the analysis you should be able to do in your mind, stating that it is a simple analysis, simple funda. Due to change in the inventory cost, my gross profit gets affected. So now the company has changed its policy of valuation of its inventory. First of all, what is prime cost? Prime cost is nothing but the directly relatable cost, which is like direct materials, direct expenses, and direct labor. Whereas works cost, it includes other costs, other ancillary, other you can say overheads also. Because of the change in the accounting policy, my existing inventory cost has been shot up by 20 crores. At the same time, iska matlab my gross profit will be increased by 20 crores. That is what has given in your this thing also in the notes of accounts. Till last year, it was the practice of valuing the inventory at prime cost, but during the year, the same has valued at worst cost. Due to this change, the closing stock was valued at 50 crores, and accordingly, the profit was increased by 20 crores due to the change of method of valuation. So, the answer would be like, because of the change in the valuation of the inventory, my gross profit or the profit has been increased in this aspect. That is what we will be writing in the notes to accounts while preparing the financial statements, and that is being depicted in the as a statement to the shareholders. Because I know that because of the change in accounting policy, the stock value has been increased, and because of which only the gross profit has increased. Actually speaking here, the gross profit should have been only 1000 rupees, but because just I changed the accounting policy, my profit has been increased. Now what happens if in a company like say for example for an investor who wants to invest in this company, by seeing the profit he thinks that the profit has been increased, wow, the company is doing great. But actually the company is not doing great. The management has decided to change the inventory. That is the reason the gross profit has been increased. But the company did not perform well. If the sales has been increased to 1800, then the gross profit increases, then it is fine. But here there is no impact on the performance of the company. That is only because of due to change in the stock, my gross profit has been increased. So in order to depict a true and fair view, the shareholder or the user of the financial statement should be able to understand the reason for increase in the profit in the particular financial year. That is why in the balance sheet notes to accounts, we are supposed to mention that this due to change in the policy, the profit has been increased by 20 crores. Okay, next point number 2. provide depreciation for the year on straight line basis or account of substantial additions in gross block during the year instead of reducing balance method. So now we are adopting SLM, straight line method, instead of written down value method. Okay, which has been hitherto adopted. As a consequence, the charge for depreciation at 27 crores is lower than the amount of 45 crores which would have been provided had the old method had been followed by 18 crores. As a consequence, the charge for depreciation 27 crores is lower. So because of utilizing the SLM method, my 27 crore rupees is the depreciation amount. And if I would have utilized had the approach of WDV, my depreciation would have been 45 crores depreciation. Because of this change, what is happening? 18 crores. There is a difference of 18 crores in the books of accounts. Simply, again, if you go here, oh shit. Again, this is typical trading account. If I come to profit and loss account, what happens in the first day also? The amount of depreciation will be considered and the net profit will be reduced. So if I consider my depreciation amount, the net profit, say for example, instead of hypothetically anything 18 crores will be increased by, my profit will be increased by 18 crores just because of change in the policy of the depreciation. Now if you had observed, go to the answer and read the paragraph. During the year, the company decided to change the method of providing for depreciation from reducing balance method to straight line method. Due to this change, the amount of depreciation was undercharged. That is, instead of charging 45, it was charged 27 crores. And as a consequence, the profit was increased by 18 crores. So now again the same funda, which has been similarly with the inventory valuation. Inventory valuation, that is what happened. The company did not perform well only because of the change in policy. The profit has increased. Again here, due to only the change in the depreciation method, the company has shown a profit of, say for example, 18 crores more than what it should have been. So the investor or the user of the financial statement should be able to clearly told that or known that only due to change in the policy this 18 crores has been increased, not because of the any other factor. So that is why in the notes to accounts, the company by preparing the financial statements, we are supposed to mention that the impact of change in the accounting policy. Now because of the change in the accounting policy, this is the impact which has been occurred. This should be provided in the notes to accounts. And another point is that after sales services, till the last of the provision of okay. So what it was saying that if you observe, read over there, the company decided to stop the keeping the provision of after sales service. What is an after sales service? Whenever I say, for example, I sold a machinery or equipment. Say, for example, I'm selling in the business of selling cars or in the bikes. So after selling the bike or car, after sales service, I'm supposed to incur. After selling the car, the customer comes to me for the after sales service. Say for example, I'm assuming that 2% of the sales, 100 rupees is my sales amount, and I'm assuming 2 rupees will be after sale cost. 2%, which is nothing but 2%. So in my recognition of the revenue sale amount, I will be recognizing only 98 rupees. Matlab 2 rupees will be shown as the provision in the profit and loss account, and ultimately my profit or my revenue will be recognized as 98 instead of 100. So this is what being followed by the company over a period of time. Now, all of a sudden, company decided that to stop the keeping the provision of 2%. So when the company has decided to stop keeping the provision of 2%, because it has assumed that now my due to any other factor there can be no after sale service, because I'm not supposed to incur any after sale service, because the bike or the car will be in a very good condition for next period of 5 years or 10 years, so there can be no expenditure involved for my after sale service. That's what company has decided. They stop keeping the provision for this sale. Then what happens, just because I stop keeping the provision of this, my profit will be shot up by 2% of sales. I'm simply not recognizing any expenditure, so my revenue will be increased or my profit will be increased by the 2% of sales. So now the same should also be communicated to the shareholders or the users of the financial statement, stating that due to because of this, now in this example the sales is like 600 crores and the 2% on 600 crores comes to 12 crores. So now the 12 crores has been increased due to simply because of change in the accounting policy that should be written in the notes to accounts. That's what is over there it was given. It was the practice of the company to make the provision of 2% of after sales service during the warranty period. It may be assumed that as a result of improved techniques and methods in the production possibility of defects become very rare. Consequently, the company took decision not to make any provision. As a result, the profit would be increased by 12 crores. That should be shown in the books of notes to accounts. Okay. Similarly, point number 5, provide for permanent fall in the value of the investment which fall had taken place over the past 5 years, the provision being 10 crores. So, I'm having an investment of rupees 10 crores and over a period of 5 years I'm having this investment, and suddenly I realized that this entire investment of 10 crores, say for example I invested this 10 crores on some machinery, or say for example I had given this 10 crores to somebody as a loan, and now I realize that not even a rupee is going to be realized from the party. So this entire 10 crores are supposed to be written off in my books of accounts due to basis of prudence approach. So that is what is going to happen. As a result of permanent fall in the value of the investment which took place over the last 5 years, the company decided to make provision to extend to 5 years. Due to this effect, the profit would be reduced by 10 crores. The conservatism approach or prudence, as per the prudence concept, you need to recognize the foreseeable losses, and since I'm knowing that this entire investment is going to be of no value, I should recognize this entire 10 crores as a loss in the books of accounts, and the same should be mentioned in the notes to accounts. So, and coming here, okay, another point to be stated. Okay, fine, we are supposed to disclose all the accounting policies while preparing, and first of all, the management is supposed to identify and utilize the same accounting policies in preparation of financial statements. After which, even the management should communicate to the users, or you should mention in the financial reports, financial statements, stating that what are the accounting policies which I had adopted in preparation of these financial statements. So the same accounting policies which the management has identified and utilized in the preparation of financial statements are to be written in the financial statements, notes to financial statements, stating that these are the policies which I had utilized in preparation of these financial statements. Okay, fine. So while writing these things, there are few policies which are deemed to be fundamental in nature. Matlab, say for example, something like universal facts, sun rises in the east. This is a universal fact known to anybody. In the same way, for a preparation of financial statements, there are few things where everybody knows that these are supposed to be followed in preparation of financial statements, which are nothing but going concern, consistency, and next comes accrual concept. While preparation of financial statements, it is need not to specify that I am following going concern, consistency, and accrual concept. These three are fundamental in nature. And whenever I am preparing the financial statements, these three, or whenever somebody is doing the financial statements, it is to be deemed implied that these three are being followed while preparation of financial statements. Okay, so I think in your initial introduction, these three has been covered. Going concern means assuming that the company runs for the near foreseeable future, and consistency means the accounting policies of the business will be consistent in nature and it will not change in year to year. And next comes the accrual concept. What is accrual concept? All my incomes and expenditure are to be recognized in accrual basis. Matlab which, although I had not realized, even in the first day I had told you, say for example, I'm having a bank FD of 10,000, and as of 31st March, let's say for example, I'm getting an interest of 10% on the bank loan, bank FD, and I had made this deposit in the mid of the year. So by 31st March, I'm not going to get any amount realized from the banks because the entire 1 year has been not completed, but my financial statements are to be closed by 31st March. So by 31st March, since 6 months has been completed, I'm supposed to recognize half of the interest, which is 500 rupees. Although 500 rupees I had not received in my bank account, I should realize this 500 rupees as my interest, being accrual in nature. In the same way, we can say the expenditures. Say the salaries and wages. Although on 31st March I am not going to pay them, on 1st April I am going to disperse them my salaries. But since as of 31st March the salaries are due to be payable, so as on 31st March while closing the books of accounts, I am supposed to recognize the entire salaries expenditure as a expenditure in my profit and loss account. So these things are not supposed to be, are not required to be mentioned separately that I am following these things in my financial statements. So these are fundamental in nature. So these things are exceptions to be specified in disclosing the financial accounting policies in the financial statements. And I request you to go through that illustration 2, 3, 4 on your own. These are very simple. And then tomorrow I'll continue from accounting standard 2. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, from day after tomorrow. कल तो किसी और पता नहीं, कल तो अकाउंट्स नहीं करना। तो वेडनेसडे है ना, ठीक है। Day after tomorrow I'll continue from AS2. Due to this online interaction, it is taking a lot of time for me to explain, or I cannot able to understand whether you are able to listen, understand or not. I cannot able to see your faces. I'm trying my best. If you had any queries, you try to unmute yourself in middle, or right now you can speak if they had any doubt in any of the concepts. Anybody would like to say something, or if you would like to ask any questions, kindly ask. This is becoming very difficult through virtual mode. Hi, hello. Okay, I'll assume that you are not having any doubts or anything. If you had any, see, these things actually you can prepare on your own also, since you are all graduates. If you had any doubt, we will be available. We'll be able to help you, because virtual mode, I don't think how much content you're able to understand or you're able to grasp from this mode. If you had any doubts, if you want to clarify anything, you kindly post your queries in the group so that we will be able to help you. Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay, the next faculty is not available, so this will be for that day. Thank you. You may please log out.